Coffee has become such a cultural necessity that it has made its way into being essential in our everyday life. Whether you get coffee with a friend or you try out a new cafe because you have heard it is cool, coffee offers more than just a caffeine boost. It has its own social culture. When it comes to drinking coffee, there are two different types of people: those who drink for quality and those who just drink for the norm. But coffee is so much more than just a drink. As the world's second most tradable commodity after oil, coffee is now a multi-billion-dollar global industry and growing. We are all aware of fair trade coffee, but have you ever stopped to think what impact the world's favorite beverage is having on our planet?
Quick facts about coffee. Did you know that an estimated 1.6 billion cups of coffee are drunk every day? That accounts to over 18,500 cups per second. The two largest coffee-producing countries of world production are Brazil with 30% and Vietnam with 20%. Coffee is the second most traded commodity on Earth. Here's an interesting fact. Hawaii is the only state in the U.S. that commercially grows coffee. Let's take a look into how fair trade impacted for small-scale farmers. A few facts. The development of a fair trade label can be drawn back to 1988 when an NGO from the Netherlands began an initiative that aimed to ensure growers were provided with sufficient wages. The stated goal of fair trade certification is to improve living conditions of farmers and workers in developing countries. In practice, this is accomplished through prices, works, institutional structures, environment, and stability. From there, fair trade focuses its effort on organizing small-scale farmers to produce 70 to 80% of the world's coffee. Fair trade aims to give farmers stability in an unpredictable market environment by offering a fair trade minimum price. If the market price exceeds the fair trade minimum price, farmers can negotiate with buyers to sell at a higher price. Furthermore, fair trade strives to support farmers to earn a living from the coffee they produce. As of 2014, fair trade certified organizations operate in 70 countries and encompass over 1.6 million farmers and workers.
Growing coffee takes more work than one may realize. Especially in Central America, conditions in which coffee farmers are placed under are strenuous and unsafe. Many workers are not given proper pesticide training prior to going in the fields and must provide their own ponchos, boots, and machetes. The hazards of working with pesticides and dealing with deadly creatures such as spiders and snakes are not the only conditions farmers have to undergo. In Brazil, workers believe housing is the biggest issue they wish to see improved. Up to 60 workers and their families are forced to share one-room warehouses on coffee farms, where they rarely have mattresses, blankets, or other commodities. Very few bathrooms are provided, which leaves rivers as the only source of running water for showers. Not only are the living and working conditions for farmers extremely unhealthy, but child labor is a huge problem as well. Children as young as 5 are put to work in fields picking cherries, and being so young, they are easily manipulated out of their hard-earned money. Child labor can sometimes account for up to 40% of workers, and because they are in the fields, they are not attending school. While health of workers is a big concern, the health of consumers may also be affected by coffee.
Everything we consume is good for us given that it is taken in moderation and not excessively. When it comes to coffee, there are both benefits as well as disadvantages in drinking it. Coffee allows you to burn fat whilst giving you the advantage to focus and stay alert as well. Many studies have shown that coffee is able to lower the risk of numerous diseases such as cancer, stroke, and Parkinson's disease, as well as lower the risk of death itself. An analysis has shown how coffee drinkers' overall risk of premature death is 25% lower than of those who do not drink coffee. Overall, coffee is a substance that contains various nutrients that may protect an individual's body and mind when consumed in moderation. But there are some complications with coffee as well that have been found. Finding good, pure coffee without an overdose of sugar and flavor added to it is difficult to find these days with the various brands that have popped up over the years. Drinking bad coffee in itself can be toxic as well. It will contain a lot of impurities, which in turn can cause sickness, headaches, or much worse. Drinking too much of it can kill you, as well as cause insomnia and restlessness. This shows on how consumers should be careful on the type of coffee they drink and how much of it as well, because too much of anything isn't good at all.
Coffee grown by traditional means has been cultivated under shaded trees, which provides a valuable habitat for animals and insects, as well as preventing topsoil erosion and removing the need for chemical fertilizers. However, the increased market demand and competition urged producers to replace the harmless sunshade coffee plantation method with sun cultivation, which requires fertilizers. In Central Asia only, around 2.5 million acres of forest has been cleared for coffee farming. As the competition increases, this deforestation continues to increase in coffee growing countries. The sun cultivation method did not only affect the plants, but it also affected the ecosystem, including animals. Much of the recent shift away from shade is due to the growth of coffee industry in Brazil and Vietnam, the first and second big producers in the world in 2010, according to the study. The researchers found that more than 3/4 of the coffee farmland in those two countries contains no tree cover. In Vietnam, for example, the environmental degradation from coffee production is illustrated in water shortage, water pollution, and declined soil fertility. Vietnamese coffee farmers cleared more than 74,000 hectares of forest in Dak Lake province for sun-cultivated coffee plantation, while the extracted water from rivers for the plantations resulted in water shortages and dried rivers for people in the area.
Coffee selling corporations are major stakeholders of the coffee industry because they impact the industry from start to finish, that being from the early stages of coffee growth and agronomy through its production and into the consumer's hands as a beverage or treat. For example, the Seattle-based but worldwide known corporation, Starbucks Coffee Company, is regularly trying to improve the industry as a whole. They implement plans like hiring efforts for veterans, refugees, and the youth, and they provide their employees with competitive wages, health benefits, and stock options. While Starbucks thrives, they like to link their success to that of their farmers and suppliers. They have created several programs such as the Sustainable Coffee Challenge in order to make coffee growing continual to be able to meet future demands. Starbucks Coffee Company has programs that help farmers with research, tools, and financial support. Farmer support centers were established by Starbucks in 8 locations throughout the globe, including Guatemala, Ethiopia, and China. The goal of these centers is to build upon traditional methods that will better their product quality, increase profits, and maintain sustainable production. To succeed with this goal, Coffee and Farmer Equity Practices Verification Program was implemented in 2004. They also make sure their product is ethically sourced, meaning that as the company benefits from the product, in exchange, they sustain farmers and strengthen the communities that provide their crops. Ultimately, these programs are a way to get their customers top-quality product. By keeping employee and partner satisfaction high, Starbucks is able to provide a superior customer experience.
Being aware of what you're consuming is the first step to help solving different social and economic issues related to coffee. By converting to fair trade coffee, you are supporting family-run coffee farms and can be assured that you have the best quality drink produced through fair labor. Encouraging small coffee shops to work directly with farmers cuts out the middleman, assuring that farmers will get the compensation they deserve. Also, supporting Starbucks in its venture to create farmer support centers around the globe is another way you can get involved. The only way to minimize harm is through social awareness. Pay attention when purchasing coffee and check if there is a fair trade label or certification, or shop at cafes that support fair trade.